My girlfriend said she worked night shifts at the hospital for 3 months. I believed her. Every single evening looked the same. 9:30 p.m. She grabbed her bag. Quick kiss on my cheek. And the same sentence every night. Another long shift. Then she would leave the apartment. At first, nothing about it felt strange. Hospitals are busy places. Night shifts are normal. And when she came home in the morning, she always looked exhausted. Sometimes she barely spoke. She would walk through the door, drop her bag on the floor, and go straight to the bathroom. Long shower. Then straight to bed. I thought she was just tired. But after a while, small things started to bother me. Tiny details, the kind you notice, but ignore. For example, she never talked about coworkers, never mentioned patients, never told funny stories from work. Every time I asked how her shift was, she gave the same short answer. Busy. Just busy. Nothing more. At the time, I didn't think much about it. But one night, something strange happened. I woke up around 3 a.m. No reason. Just one of those nights when your brain refuses to sleep. So I grabbed my phone and started scrolling. That's when I opened our location app. We shared our locations with each other, just in case something ever happened. Normally, her phone was always at the hospital. But that night, it wasn't. Her location was across the city, at an address I had never seen before. At first, I thought it was just a glitch. Apps mess up sometimes, signal errors happen. So I ignored it. But the next night, I checked again. Same location, same address, same time. Now my curiosity turned into something else. Concern. Because if she wasn't at the hospital, then where was she? And more importantly, why would she lie about it? For the next 2 nights, I kept checking. And every time, the same thing happened. She left at 9:30. Her phone appeared at that same address across the city and stayed there for hours. That's when I realized something was seriously wrong. So on the 5th night, I decided I needed to know the truth. I didn't confront her. I didn't accuse her. Because if I was wrong, I didn't want to destroy our relationship over paranoia. But if I was right, I needed proof. That night, she followed her usual routine. 9:30 p.m. bag kiss. See you in the morning. The door closed behind her. I waited 5 minutes. Just enough time so she wouldn't notice me leaving. Then I grabbed my keys, got in my car, and followed her. At first, everything looked normal. She drove toward the hospital district, just like always. But then, she turned. Not toward the hospital. The opposite direction. 10 minutes passed, then 20. Soon we were in a part of the city I had almost never visited. Huge houses, private gates, luxury cars parked along the streets, the kind of neighborhood where people don't check price tags. Finally, she slowed down and pulled into the driveway of a massive mansion. The kind of house you only see in movies. Tall white pillars, huge glass windows, security cameras everywhere. I parked my car down the street. My heart was pounding so loud I could hear it in my ears. She stepped out of the car, walked to the front door, and something strange happened. She didn't knock. She didn't ring the bell. The door opened immediately, like someone inside had been waiting for her. A man in a black suit stepped outside. He smiled, then hugged her. And that's when I heard something that made my stomach drop. Welcome back, Miss Carter. Miss Carter, that wasn't her name. My girlfriend's name was Emily. At least, that's what she told me. And in that moment, I realized something terrifying. The girl I thought I knew might not exist at all. I sat in the car, trying to process what I had just heard. Miss Carter. That name kept repeating in my head. My girlfriend's name was Emily. At least, that's the name she gave me when we first met. But now I wasn't even sure that person existed. I stayed parked down the street, watching the mansion. More cars arrived, black SUVs, luxury sedans, even a limousine. People in expensive suits walked inside like this was some kind of private event. Then about an hour later, the front door opened again, and she walked outside. But she looked completely different. Gone was the tired girl who came home every morning exhausted from night shifts. This version of her looked confident, elegant, powerful. Her hair was styled. She was wearing a dress that probably cost more than my monthly rent. And when she stepped onto the front porch, something strange happened. The people standing outside started clapping, not loudly, but respectfully, like she was someone important. Then I heard someone say something that made my stomach drop. "That's the owner's daughter." Owner? Of what? The mansion? The company? The entire property? I suddenly realized something terrifying. The girl I thought was struggling as a nurse might actually be incredibly wealthy. I stayed there for another hour. Eventually, the cars started leaving. The lights inside the mansion turned off one by one. And finally, she walked back to her car. I quickly started my engine and drove away before she could see me. The entire drive home, my mind was racing. Nothing made sense anymore. Why would someone rich pretend to be broke? Why lie about working at a hospital? Why create an entirely different identity? The next morning, she came home around 6 a.m., just like always. She walked through the door quietly, dropped her bag, went straight to the shower, like nothing had happened, like the night before didn't exist. I pretended to be asleep, but my heart was pounding. When she came back into the bedroom, I sat up. "We need to talk." She froze, completely still. Slowly, she turned around. "What about?" I looked straight at her and said one word. "Carter." Her face changed instantly. The color drained from her cheeks. For a few seconds, neither of us said anything. Then she slowly sat down on the edge of the bed and whispered something I never expected to hear. "That's not my real name either." At that moment, I felt like the ground disappeared under my feet. She took a deep breath and finally started explaining everything. Her real name was Alexandra. Her father owned several luxury hotels and private investment companies in the city. The mansion I saw? That was their family home. And the event I witnessed? A private meeting with investors. For most of her life, she said, people treated her differently the moment they heard her last name. Friends became fake. Relationships became transactional. People stopped seeing her as a person. They only saw money. So 3 months ago, she decided to try something radical. She created a new identity. Emily, a normal girl, someone ordinary, someone nobody would treat differently. She moved into a smaller apartment, bought normal clothes, and tried to live a life where nobody knew who she really was. That's when she met me. And according to her, I was the first person in years who treated her like a normal human being. Not a bank account. Not a business opportunity. Just a person. But every few nights she still had to return to her real life. Family meetings, business events, responsibilities she couldn't avoid. So she lied. About the hospital, about the night shifts, about everything. Not because she wanted to manipulate me, but because she was terrified of what would happen if I found out the truth. I sat there silently for a long time, trying to understand everything. Finally, I asked the one question that mattered. If I never followed you, would you have ever told me? She didn't answer right away. She looked down at the floor and quietly said, "I was hoping I wouldn't have to." The room went silent. And in that moment, I realized something strange. The girl I thought was lying to me was actually searching for something real. Someone who would care about her for who she truly was. Not for the money. Just for her. And somehow that person ended up being me.